Splatoon 3 launched with a total of 15 unique specials, which is the most we've ever had in the game, but some people, especially newer players, may not know that there's a way to actually make them stronger. On any piece of gear, you can attach an ability called Special Power Up, which, as the name implies, will increase the performance of whatever special you're using, and in this video I want to cover how it affects every special in the game. I also want to note that the gear I use for testing only has 3 mains of Special Power Up, but I'll still mention some of the maximum effects based on the data from beta.sendo.inc, which I highly recommend you guys check out for gear analysis, saving gear sets, and much more. I'll leave a link in the description below. And finally, as a note to save me some time, absolutely none of these specials received any type of damage up with Special Power Up on. If you're new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe, and let's just jump right in. Starting with Trizooka, Special Power Up increases its painting radius and its duration for up to 8 seconds. It also increases its damage radius once it hits any surface, but it does not increase the firing rate, the speed, or the range of its shots. Next up we have Big Bubbler, and Special Power Up increases the durability of the bubble itself to a maximum of 2880 HP, and its weak points, which are at the top of the bubble and a beacon inside, to up to 1440 HP. It does not increase the size of the bubble, but the duration was raised by about 3.5 seconds with the 3 mains I tested. Also, some people may not know this, but if you use Big Bubbler on the tower, it'll actually break much faster. On the left clip it lasts for about 17.5 seconds on the ground, but on the right it only lasts for about 9 seconds while using it on the tower. So I want to test its duration with and without Special Power Up in that scenario, but it still increases duration by roughly 1 more second. For Zipcaster, Special Power Up always increases its duration whether or not you're using your main weapon, and how many times you can use the grapple before it ends. There were lots of other things I tested that didn't really change, like its grapple speed and its paint. How far the grapple could reach stayed the same, the radius of splash damage stayed the same, and even the armor stays the same, since in these 2 clips I take the same amount of damage from a direct Trizooka shot. For the most infamous special in the game being Tenno Missiles, Special Power Up increases the reticle size when you pop them and slightly increases ink coverage once they hit the ground. After testing other stuff, the duration stays the same, and it doesn't do anything to pop faster, target people quicker, or increase the amount of missiles being used. Thank goodness for that. Next up we got Inkstorm, which is overall pretty simple. It can be thrown further and will last longer, going up from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. On the other hand, Special Power Up does not increase the size of the storm, it doesn't make it paint more, and it does not change its speed in any way. For Booyah Bomb, Special Power Up allows you to charge it faster with or without spamming Booyah, and that's pretty much it. I got some friends of mine to test out the armor, and it was pretty much the same. Some other things that Special Power Up didn't change include the throwing distance, the speed at which you throw it, and how much it paints the ground. Moving on to Wave Breaker, you still only get 3 waves total, but the size of every wave is slightly bigger. I tried testing its durability, its tracking time, and even the speed of the waves, but those surprisingly all stayed the same. For Ink Vac, its suction radius is increased, looking similar to Tenno Missiles, and that's really it. The duration was the same for about 6 seconds, it doesn't suck up more ink than it would with no Special Power Up, the size and speed of the explosions were the same every single time, and even the distance of the shot didn't change, which again kinda surprised me. Going over to Killer Whale 5.1, its duration was the only thing that was changed. I also tested how fast it deploys, how much quicker it tracks a moving target, and its end lag once it forces you out of squid form, and they were all the same. Also, side note for people that don't know, it has infinite range, so that wasn't really something I thought about testing. For Inkjet, Special Power Up increases its duration enough to give you an extra shot, as well as its paint and damage radius. Everything that stays unchanged includes its fire rate, its speed in the air, and I tested the paint from the exhaust, but that was unaffected too. Next up we have Ultra Stamp, and Special Power Up only increases its duration from 9 seconds to 11 seconds. Things that didn't change in any way include its throwing range, the damage radius, and its overall paint, regardless of if you normally use it or when you throw it. For Crab Tank, I tested its mobility, moving forwards, moving backwards, to the side, and in ball form on the ground, jumping and climbing a wall. I tested the paint from both firing modes and the trail of ink you leave behind in ball form. I tested the firing rate from both firing modes, its blast radius, and its durability. The only thing Special Power Up increased was its duration. The exact same way as Ultra Stamp. Nintendo, you're killing me. Moving on to Reef Slider, Special Power Up increases the radius and paint of the explosion at the end. It does not increase the distance or the speed at which you travel, and I tried testing the end lag once it explodes, but it's just about the same as well. For Triple Ink Strike, the only thing that changes is its throwing range. Other things like its duration, its painting radius, the speed it launches after it hits any surface, the throwing speed, and even the walking speed are unaffected. And finally, for Tacticooler, Special Power Up only increases the duration of its effects to a maximum of 25 seconds. seconds. I tried to see if the fridge would last longer, but it stayed the same surprisingly. Even the throwing distance was about the same, and how close you need to be to actually receive a drink. I tested some of the abilities that it gives you, like run speed and swim speed, and I even got some friends to test quick respawn to see if you'd come back faster, but surprise surprise, those stayed the same. And there we go, that is everything special power up does for every special in the game, and I'd like to give a huge shout out to Isaac, Apple, and Hydra for helping me out with this video. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and with that being said, thank you all for watching. Peace.